As I sit here today, I'm reminded of a rather amusing fact. I've been such a really active creator recently, and What the? 2 weeks ago? Hey guys, it's Jump here, and before we start this video, I just want to go into detail about where I've been for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks-ish. So, on May the 4th, I had a big operation on my appendix. It was really sudden, we didn't expect it. It had been hurting on May the 3rd, and it just randomly happened, all planned on one day for that same day. So I didn't really have any time to give anyone notice whatsoever. But I'm back now, and I'm going to be trying to be a little more active than I was, but I can't really promise anything. I'm sorry, but I'm not very good at making promises like that. But let's get on with the video. Today we're going to be doing a game called Orna RPG. It's a GPS RPG, which is available for free on Android, and I'm pretty sure Apple as well. I'm not 100% certain on that one, though. And it is a pretty fun game, and I'm going to be giving you 10 tips on it today. So the first 5 tips are going to be for beginners, so you can feel free to skip through those and go to the other 5. And the second 5 are just going to be for players in general. So, let's get on with the video. First tip is to get your daily logins. Daily logins are the most useful things that you will probably find in the game. They will give you armor, materials, they will give you a lot of things, and they are very helpful throughout the game, being one of the main ways to get weapons and armor. My second tip is to get your income reports, your daily income reports. Income is this thing over here, and you can get them from these. So, these are called, I'm pretty sure they're just called, I don't actually know what they're called, but you can fight bosses or enemies in them to get territory explored, and that will give you a certain amount of rewards in a certain amount of time. So this fight over here will give me 1 Darkstone monthly, whereas this one over here will give me 27 gold daily. Now these do stack, which is very helpful, so I earn roughly, as you just saw in the last tip, around a good 500,000-ish gold a day. So it's very helpful to have income coming in. Collect your rewards from kingdom raids. Raids are very helpful in your kingdom, as they not only will give rewards to your allies, but they will give you rewards for beating the enemies. And it's very, very useful, as they can give you money and orns and lots of different things. So they're some of the best things that you can do in the game at any point. So collecting income from beating them is very helpful. We have a tip for all of you beginner players. Don't be discouraged early in the game. It's very hard to play at the beginning, but you will get better and better as you go on through the game, whether it be from fighting bandits or completely shredding dark elf mages. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, just enjoy the game. The PvP aspect takes a long time to unlock, but you will get there. Don't you worry, it is very fun once you get into it. I have another tip for all of you beginners out there. Use the blacksmiths. Blacksmiths are one of the most helpful features in the game, as you can put an item in and upgrade them. It will take 1 hour to upgrade, and you won't be able to use it during that time. But when it gets out, it will be a lot stronger, and this can be done multiple times. It's worth the wait, trust me, as then you'll be able to kill much stronger enemies to level up, which is pretty useful if you ask me. My next tip is on weapon stats. Now, a lot of people judge their weapon stats based off of damage instead of what their full stats are. Now, my Masamoon, which is a 6-star weapon, which drops from the boss Ronin, is It has 13 mana, it has 99 attack damage and 99 magic damage, which is pretty useful. So, you also have your offhand, and this is where you can get interesting. You have offhand weapons such as shields and quivers, which give you lots of different abilities, but you also have dual-wielding weapons. So I use the warm, well-made lute, and some dual-wielding weapons will give you a special attack. Now, my lute gives me an attack called Requiem 2. I don't know if I'm saying it right, someone correct me in the comments. But what it does is it's a strong attack that doesn't take mana. Now, they do get quite weak eventually because you will out-level them fairly fast. But they're very helpful when you first unlock them, because as you can see, they will tear through most enemies at your approximate level. Now, as long as it's a weapon that's at your rough sort of star, it won't stop being useful. So one day when I level up, this ability will stop being useful. But if I find a piece of gear that's the same one, but is a sort of higher star with the same ability, it will be stronger and better. And that's how you're going to want to judge your stats. You don't want to do it on just damage or just defense. You want to look at your resistance and your dexterity on armor, or your mana, your defense on my, whatever they're called, equipables. These things, accessories. So I have the Troll's Charms on, and they're very helpful because they buff up basically all of your stats. So you're just going to want to see what you have. Tip is on classes. Now, the first 3 classes are these following: Warrior, Mage, and Thief. Now, the Thief is a very tricky one to play. It's the one I started as, and they learn debuffs and they use daggers. The Mage uses staffs and learns basic spells, and the Warrior uses swords and learns skills that boost its attack. Now, each of these classes leads to more classes, so the Warrior can become a Knight or a Paladin, the Mage can become an Archmage, the Thief can become a Rogue, and the Archmage then can become a Sorcerer. Now, just for those people who play with the female body type, which I don't for obvious reasons, the Archmage sprite name is actually changed if you play with the female sprite, and it's quite significant. It becomes the Witch. It is the same class, don't worry, it's the same class, but it just looks slightly different. But these classes will keep on going, and then eventually, when you reach 6 star like me, I've chosen to be the Grand Mystic, and then eventually you'll go 7 star and go another class. Now, what these stars represent is your level. So every 25 levels, you should get a new star. So you'll start the game at level 1, and then when you reach level 25, you'll have the option to be a Knight, Paladin, Archmage, Rogue, you name it. You can choose whichever one of those you want. Then when you reach level 50, you're 3 star. And then when you reach level 75, you're 4 star. And you get 5 star when you reach 100, and 125, you get 6 star. Now, as you go on, the levels do get harder to rise. However, you will be able to do it, trust me. It gets hard at the beginning, but you can do it. So don't worry. Now, as you can see, you will die sometimes, and it happens, it's fun. Don't beat yourself up. You will die in this game, but it's just about how you react. So, that concludes that tip. Now, this is probably going to be more tips than I actually anticipated, so let's keep going. Now, this next tip is for you elite players. I wouldn't call myself elite, but for those players who, like me, have spent hours on this game. Now, this tip revolves around 2 little things called amities. Now, these are unlocked by going onto your inventory and using a diluted mnemonic, which will trigger a memory hunt. Now, memory hunts are very useful as they will get you the things required for the amities. Now, amities, as you can see over here, will do extra damage after you finish your turn, which is fairly helpful if you ask me. Now, each different task in the Shattered Memory Hunt does different things. So the one I'm in right now is a battle one, but there are others that have puzzles or other sort of different things than this. But most of them have a certain theme. And they're unlocked quite late game. I'm pretty sure it's around 4 or 5 stars that you can unlock them. And it took me a long time to get these. So as soon as you unlock diluted mnemonics, you should start using them. Now another tip I have for using these is that you want to use them when you're on the go. Now unlike me, I'm just sat down playing Orna and recording the video. I probably won't be able to finish this memory hunt. But when you're not doing whatever it is I'm doing right now, you will be able to go to the other memories, which is very useful. But as you can see here, there is other sorts of puzzles. For instance, I don't know what to do in this one, so I'm just tapping it. A lot of them require just figuring them out, which is what I'm doing. So they each do different things, and the amities at the end will give you different bonuses, which are all very helpful. So as you can see, I've just completed this one. Now my amities have very useful buffs. So my magic's and ineffectiveness one gives me 5% recovered maximum mana per turn. However, it means that spells that opponents are resistant to will be reduced to 30% damage. And my other one, hardiness and dryness, deals 5% additional damage while at full HP, but it decreases my water resistance by 15%. So a lot of these are very helpful. They're not necessarily easy to unlock, but they are very worth it when you do. Now, puzzles like this are where you have to line up certain things, which is what I'm not very good at. But when you do it, you get the reward. Now, they're very tricky to do if you don't know how to do them. But once you figure it out, you will find it very easy, as you can see. Now, behind my blacksmith is another shattered memory. So, in this one, you have to line these squiggly lines up, which is slightly hard, but it can be done fairly easily if you know how to do it. So, the next thing that I have to do is pick my amity. So, I will be able to muster a second wind, raise my shield, or accept what may happen. Or I could let fate guide me. Now, I think mustering a second wind is pretty useful. So, level up. Now that's also another helpful tip. Defending in battle will reduce an additional 75% damage, but it means I encounter less monsters, so I won't equip that as it doesn't really fit in with my mage build. But that's how amities work. Now I know that this tip has been a lot longer than others, but it will be very useful to know when you unlock them. This next tip is to do with player versus player, also known as PvP. So, in your inventory, when you press this button at the bottom, you will see an arena at the top. Now, you can use arena tokens to spar with other players, which is very fun, trust me. Now, it also can get hard as well, but as long as you're good and you know what you're doing, you will probably win. Now, I'm playing against a 4 or 5 star here. They're playing as a mystic, so I will likely win this. So, the awards for PvP are amazing at the beginning of the game, as you can get just weapons or souls. Now, souls are used for upgrading weapons that you earn from PvP. So if I was to go on a different match, I would likely end up earning some sort of weapon. And these weapons are very useful because they often do a lot of damage, and the more damage you do, the easier you will find it to win. Now, remember, you don't just judge a weapon based off of its damage stat, and we'll go into that in a bit, don't worry. But PvP is very, very useful, so you're going to want to use it to get stronger weapons. So, once you've done that, as you can see, I got the weapons Arc, S-Stock, Great Staff, and Needles. Oh no, that's not Great Staff, that's a Dark Staff. Whatever, same difference. But yeah, that's PvP. It can be challenging, but it is very, very rewarding when you win. Now, my last tip is on PvP in exploring. Now, I showed you the exploration mechanic quite early on in the video, where you battle monsters to get your rewards. Control is basically the same thing. Now, as you can see, where I am, I pretty much control the entire map. And that's because I'm one of the strongest players in my area, I'd say. I don't see any other Orna players near me, so I'm not going to argue with that. So you will win these by fighting the Duke of that area. Now, it's very similar to the gym system in Pokemon Go, except it's a lot harder because you unlock this at 5-star, I'm pretty sure, and it's challenging because a lot of the players will be a higher level than you. They will have better gear than you. So until you find your class, just stay with what you have. Once you find one that you're happy with and you've got your good gear, that's when you can start doing the fights. Now, the fights themselves are very similar to gauntlet fights, as they revolve around PvP. They battle people that are roughly your same level, and you get rewards from them, often revolving around souls. But the hardest part is actually winning, because these ones you don't get to rematch in or retry. It's just tricky, full stop. Now, another combat tip related to this: in PvP, you aren't allowed to use potions or anything like that. So if you're playing the mage class, an ability like Wisp's Heal is very helpful, as it can not only cure debuffs, but it heals you around 300 health, which is fairly helpful. So, that concludes all my tips for today. I hope that you enjoyed them. I certainly enjoy making this video. Hopefully I'll be able to do more Orna videos soon, and just videos in general. I've fully recovered from my operation now, so I should be able to. But I will see you in the next video, whenever that is. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!